Hey guys, welcome to Outlaw Edge. So I was metal finishing a panel, and then Heidi says you should finish that, just kind of show them the stages. I'm not doing it to perfect, but I want it to be polished and nice looking and whatever. And I'll show you the difference between welding a panel up like this and the difference between welding up two pieces of steel together like this, where it's flawless. And you can take this to a mirror finish if you use body files. I'm not doing this with body files today. I don't have the time. I want to get this panel done. Eventually I'll take this panel off though and I'll body file it and get it perfect. But today what I'm doing is I'll show you guys how to take two pieces of sheet metal, weld them together, grind the welds, what I use to do them, and then you know, what stage do I go to as far as polishing up the welds and getting them where it looks nice. And one of the biggest things is when you do one side, you weld it and you grind it, what happens is the sheet metal gets so thin and whatever, so it's better if you have, you know, the room to get in there and you have the time and whatever, weld both sides and then grind both sides. And what I'll do is I'll weld both sides, and then when I'm ready to, and I get it all ground down and whatever, I'll go ahead and have her film some more. That way she's not gonna, you know, watch me, you know, weld and grind the whole panel.
Mess around for 2 hours.
Yeah, because it'll be a long video if that's the case, because there's a lot of time that's going to take right here. I'll have her film some of it, because some of these, you know, there's two panels right here, and they got to be lined up like this. This is all lined up nice. There's a high spot right here. Some of this stuff has to be knocked down with a hammer and dolly, whatever. And what I do is I hammer weld it. I'll start welding, and I'll just hammer, weld, all the way across that panel. Or I'll weld here, go over about 4 inches, weld, 4 inches, weld, and do that. That way you don't get any warping and whatever. Or you can, you know, cool it off with air, water, whatever you want to do, whatever's fastest, whatever's the way you prefer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start welding this up and hammering and dolling it, getting it all nice where I want it. And then when I'm ready, I'll start grinding it, whatever, and go from there.
Snuck up on you. What is that you're using? Nozzle gel. Ew, that looks gross.
Yogurt. Tastes good too.
Blueberry? Would this make my welding easier?
Huh?
This make my welding better?
No. I don't think the act of God can make your welding better.
My welding is fantastic. Shut your face. Mr. Spotty Pants. I was just calling you Mr. Spotty Pants. You didn't burn through anywhere. Nice work, sir. Of course, that is 18 gauge, I assume.
20.
That's 20?
20. 20 times.
I thought we were using 18 gauge on there.
What's this?
All right. Well, cool. Cool with me. I don't give a crap. As long as the floor is not gonna fall on me.
Oh, no, that's 18.
That's 18. This is 20.
The stuff that's on the floor is real thick. There's no need to use that on here though. So this is 20, I believe. 20.
Okay.
All right, so this is what I did. I got everything welded up on the inside, just spot welds, and then I went back through and I wire brushed it with a small wire brush. And then what I did is anywhere that I missed, I hit another weld. And on the outside, I did the same thing. And it's ugly because it's just spot weld, spot weld, spot weld.
All over the place.
And then what I did is everywhere there's a spot weld, I came back through, wire brushed it, and put another spot weld so that there's a spot weld all the way through here. because you'll feel my pain if you'll know what I'm talking about. Because what'll happen is you'll go to clean this metal, grind it smooth, and it'll bust through, and then you'll have to go on the backside, weld it up, whatever. And so what I do is I have a sheet of metal here and a sheet of metal here. I weld it on this side, flip it, weld it on the other side. I grind the welds, and then I run it through the planishing hammer. And what that does is that smashes those welds down, and it makes it nice and smooth like this. And then when you come over the top of it, smooth it out, then it'll look nice. And then any warping or anything that I have, like there's a little spot right here, there's a low spot. I don't know if you can see those right there and right there. Anyways, what I'll do is I'll run this edge or this corner with not a half round, a small radius on the planishing hammer when I do this. And then when I get to the other panels, I'll be running a flat die on those. And I'm gonna go ahead and grind this. They don't need to watch me grind all this crap down. When I do the other grinding, right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind this down with just a, what is this? It's just a Norton sheet metal grinding disc. And then the next step, I go to an 80 grit, 4.5 inch.
Okay.
And then after that, I use my die grinder, DA, and then kind of step by step, go through the steps. So I'll go ahead and get this knocked down. That way I don't have to bore them with all the grinding that I'm going to be doing on this thing. So
Okay, sounds good.
And you're going to get grinding sparks in your eyeballs.
Super.
I ran it with that disc there. And then this disc, this is the flapper sander disc.
Okay.
And I use the Rolox 36 grit.
Okay.
And then the next step is the loud noisy crap.
Oh, great. I need to go get my earbuds.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Go ahead and shut off, I'll get this set up.
Okay.
So the next step, what I do is I take the English wheel, and you can do this at home without an English wheel, without a planishing hammer. It's just a lot more work. You're gonna use a dolly and a hammer. And all I'm doing is using this machine to smooth out the dents, using that machine to smooth out everything, to make it like glass smooth, and that's the planishing hammer. And what I'm doing right now is I'll get this, you might have to come on this side of me.
Okay.
I'm gonna get this panel in there. And like I said, we're joining two pieces of metal together in holy matrimony.
Okay.
So I have a weld on the inside, I have a weld on the outside. So those two pieces are welded together, and now all we're trying to do is smooth that weld out so you can't see it. And if you have an English wheel, it works great. If you don't, like I said, hammer and dolly, you know, it'll take hours. And you'll get it to where you want it. And I want to tighten this English wheel up real tight. And I want to try to stay right on that panel. Or not.
It happens. I think the biggest thing is to just, you know, use patience. I think you use all of your patience up on your metal shaping.
It's kind of like when you're with Heidi, being with her all day long.
Yep.
10 minutes, your patience are gone.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Ask Paco, he knows.
Paco loves me. I'm his favorite, other than Veronica, of course.
It's a little too tight. Oh, can you put your foot on that damn thing?
I did.
At first, it's kind of a bitch because you're trying to flatten those welds out a little bit. But once you get it where it starts.
Did you grind the inside welds as well?
Do what?
Did you grind the inside welds as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's inside and outside.
I'm just double checking. Some of us might not know that.
That's about it right there.
So I can hear it getting better already.
Yeah. See, it's how much it's already smoothed out.
That's pretty crazy.
Here comes the fun part.
I wish there was a way I could mute the camera. There's probably a way, I just don't know how. I'm gonna switch sides. Oh,
And
flanking stuff.
the die that I'm using is not this aggressive. It's the domed die on the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was that?
I have earbuds and I can't hear.
Anyways, it's a domed die, and it's very little radius.
Okay.
So it's the one that's almost flat.
All right.
Are you saying all right for the people
All
watching
right.
YouTube?
Get going. Just kidding. All right.
And this can be super loud, you guys. So the next step, I use a orbital DA, a dual orbital sander, and I'm using a 40 grit. Iron behind you.
Okay.
I wasn't set up.
What? And the Flexzilla hose.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked these hoses out, they're awesome. Flexzilla. Where's the logo at on this damn thing?
I don't know.
Right there. I don't know if you can see that. These hoses are badass.
They're all over. You can find them in just about any store anymore.
Home Depot or whatever.
Yeah.
And see now when you fill this, it's like glass smooth already, but you can still see where the welds and stuff are.
Oh yeah, and feel them just a little.
Yeah, and then what you're gonna do is, I'm trying to show you that, you could TIG weld this panel and then use body files, but I'm not using TIG welding and body files, I'm using MIG welding. I'm using the, excuse me, the MIG welder. This is 20 gauge sheet metal. The wire that I'm using, I was too lazy to change it out. You should be using 023. You should be using 023 wire, and it's right now it's point 30 is what I have in there right now. It's 030. And if you were doing this with a TIG welder, you could run a bead all the way across this, and when you're done, metal file and finish. But a guy that doesn't have a TIG welder, he doesn't have metal files, maybe he has some body works, he does some body work at home and he has a MIG welder, you could do this stuff at home. And that's what our channel is based on. Like I tell you guys all the time, we don't have $10,000 machines. Maybe someday we will. I could care less. I enjoy doing this stuff by hand. So take your sander, and what you're gonna do is use the 40 grit, and then we're gonna go to the 80 grit next. So I use the 40 grit on here. You can see how much it's already taken it down, smoothed it out.
Schmoove.
And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the 80 grit on here. Well, I don't want to turn the compressor back on, but you guys kind of get the drift. You get the drift of what's going on here. So when you're done smoothing that panel out, it'll be like glass smooth. And it just depends on how much you want to go with it. So like right here, there's a couple spots, like here and here, and there's a little divots from where I dug in with the grinder. And what I would do with that is I'd take this die grinder and I'd run it as smooth as I could, flat like this on the panel, back and forth, and then come back here with the DA 40 grit and then 80 grit. And then by the time you're done, it'll be smooth out like that, like I showed you in that front piece. Hold that front piece.
You're working on piece.
Anyways, yeah. But it'll make it worse glass smooth. It'll be like flawless. And that's how you do metal finishing. It's simple, you know. I've had a lot of guys ask me about it, and I actually had one smart ass guy on here say, "Oh, that's not metal finishing." Put your money where your mouth is. Show me. You know what I mean? Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for the support on the channel. And I hope you guys get something out of this video. Give me a thumbs up and please subscribe and hit the button. Later. So on this panel right here, when I put it in, you know, that used to be 2 pieces of metal, and now it's, I'm gonna metal finish it right here and smooth it out, and I'm gonna take it on and off a couple times and hammer it, get all these little dings and spots out that I'm not happy with. But once it's on here, it'll just be nice and smooth. It'll look awesome.